In this video, Kevin and I are going to be going over the TV shows and movies that we watched during the month of August. So I'm going to be talking a lot at the beginning because I watch shows without Kevin. I watch shows while I'm working. So I have two monitors and I'll watch or listen to something while I'm doing my work. And so Kevin is doing his work on his computer. So I watched 6 Schizophrenic Brothers. This was a documentary on Max. It's a 2024 documentary, HBO Max, same channel. It's the story of a family where 6 out of 12 siblings developed schizophrenia. And it only has 4 episodes. So I thought this was very interesting. I actually watched probably 2 episodes on the computer, but then I remember too walking on my treadmill, and I watched a couple of episodes while I was walking on my treadmill too. So it's one of those that's really easy to follow, and it's very interesting. It's an interesting look into this family that's like plagued, you know, really.
So that's a lot.
It is.
I mean, it would be difficult to deal with 1, much less 6.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think, yeah, they've dealt with a lot. Then I watched Spacey Unmasked. Now, this was on Max 2024. It follows the life of Kevin Spacey from his childhood, success on Broadway, through to his spectacular fall from grace as he faces accusations of sexual harassment and abuse. It's only 2 episodes. I love House of Cards. I do. I love House of Cards. I will watch a random episode of House of Cards here and there just because I love Kevin Spacey's character so much in that show. And I just think it's a brilliant show. But if you watch this, just know I went into this thinking, I love Kevin Spacey, thinking I love him. I think he's a wonderful person, and you will come out feeling differently than what you started. They're very, the stories and just everything that you hear, it all adds, it piles on, and it's not just one person or one time or one event. It just keeps piling on, and it's like, all of these people, you know, you just don't watch it unless you're ready to have your mind changed. So, but I still love House of Cards. Then I watched Taken Together, Who Killed Lyric and Elizabeth. This was on Max 2024. It explores the 2012 abduction of cousins Lyric and Elizabeth in Evansdale, Iowa. It features, you get exclusive access, interviews, and new information surrounding the haunting case that's over 7 years. It's only 3 episodes, and that's what I like about all of these that I've mentioned too, is it's not some long drawn out thing. It's usually just a couple of episodes and you're in and out. This one, I remember telling you about it because they said that it was very rare for two kids, 2 of anybody, to be taken at one time. That it doesn't happen that often, because think about it, if you're kidnapping someone, you have to control that person. You have to keep control of them, and imagine having to do that with 2 people. It would be awful. But that's what happened to these 2 little girls, is they were both taken together at the same time, and that's what this is about. I thought it was, it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. But I always think, too, I was glad that I watched it, because I immediately texted Andrew, and my son, and I said, you know, I hope somebody's always outside with those children while they're riding their bikes. You know, it just makes you think. And you know what? If it does that, that's okay. That's okay for it to do that, because you should be watching your kids, especially these days, even back then, clearly. But I mean, our kids never were outside alone. They were not. And, you know,
a different day when we were kids.
It is. But, you know, even I had my boundaries living right here in this house.
Once I got older, I went everywhere.
You did?
Oh, yeah. My bicycle, I'd ride everywhere.
We lived right here, and I had very clear boundaries. And, I mean, I was even 12 years old. I was not allowed to go very far at all. And we were the same way with Andrew and Ashley. They were always in our sight. And they were only allowed to go, you know, a certain distance. So, I don't see how parents can be like your parents and just let you go. And
that was a different time back then.
I know, but you were an only child, and for them to be like, this is my only, I love this child more than anything else in the world, but yet I'm going to let you just go off wherever you want, and I'm not going to know what you're doing.
Oh, I'm sure they knew where I was going. But
they thought they did at least.
I always was well behaved. I always went where I said I was going to go.
But I'm not that person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a different time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the late 70s, early 80s. I mean, you know, that was just completely different back
right. Then. Well, I think
not that people didn't get kidnapped back then. It was just a different thought. You know, that was a rarity.
I think my dad being a police officer and seeing what he saw every day with his job had a lot to do with it. Like, you need to stay in this area because there are bad people. Because,
well, the world has changed too.
He's seeing the bad people. Yeah, but I'm not that much younger than you.
Generation's different.
Okay, then I watched A Simple Plan, and you saw some of this. This is a movie, Prime Video, 1998. Well, I don't know if you saw it as much as you listened to some of it. 3 blue-collar acquaintances come across millions of dollars
I saw pieces of it.
in lost cash, and they make a plan to keep their find from the authorities. But it isn't long before complications and mistrust weave their way into the plan. So this movie...
It was a movie, not a documentary.
Yeah, it's a movie, yes. It's a movie. You can watch it on Prime Video. It's from 1998. It stars Billy Bob Thornton and Bill Paxton. And I had never seen it before, and it was a very good movie.
It was interesting. The premise was interesting.
Yes, how like if you find this money, should you turn the money into the authorities? Or do you want to keep it and split it up? And, you know, there's, you find out what happens when you decide to keep it.
I think it depends on who I found it with.
Absolutely.
That would have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could tell this was not money, like this wasn't a bank's money or somebody's money. It was crime money.
It was cartel.
Yeah. So you knew that from the very beginning. So they knew it was bad men money.
Yes. But then you have an idiot like Billy Bob Thornton who decides to shoot his mouth off. Yeah. And see, that's the thing, is you have to know people who are a person who's going to keep their mouth shut. So like, I know if I did something, Kevin's going to keep his mouth shut. And likewise, if Kevin did anything, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. We can really trust each other. And you know what? We know we could trust Andrew and Ashley. I know that I could trust Andrew and Ashley to keep their mouth shut about anything, and they would never tell. But 100% honest, I don't trust one other person.
No.
Not one.
No, I don't.
There's not one other person. But do you feel the same way about Andrew and Ashley?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think I could trust them. And even Andrew, I would really have to, because he would want to tell Christina.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want him to tell Christina. So even Andrew's a little bit iffy, but I know Ashley's definitely 100% solid. Yeah. So that's the thing, is you have to watch who you tell things to. Okay. Then I watched Elizabeth Taylor, The Lost Tapes. This is on Max, 2024. This is completely different than anything I've talked about so far. If you want, Elizabeth Taylor, I think, was absolutely beautiful.
You forget what she looked like, especially when she was younger. You forget. She was just gorgeous.
Because you glanced over.
I glanced over and I said, you really forgot how pretty she was.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Because even by the time she did like the mirror cracked, she looked different.
Yeah.
She looked totally different. She had put on some weight.
She was doing the makeup different.
The hair was the like I'm gonna go to the beauty shop once a week kind of hair. So she did look different then. But this was, I loved it. I would watch this again. It says this documentary contains newly discovered interviews with Elizabeth Taylor and unprecedented access to the star's personal archive. It was so interesting, and it's like a one-time show. I don't know how long it was. It might have been an hour and a half or something. But it was just so interesting, and it was really good the way they did it, because she's talking in this interview, and they really filled in the documentary with lots of footage, and it was so interesting. And if you like old Hollywood and you like seeing those stars and like Judy Garland and people like that, you would really enjoy this. I think you should watch this, and nothing bad or anything about it, you know. Then I watched, back to the murdery stuff. I don't know what got into me. I watched American Murder, Lacy Peterson on Netflix, 2024. The case of Lacy Peterson's disappearance and murder shook the U.S. in 2002. Her husband, Scott, was convicted, though he maintains innocence 20 years later. Lacy's mother and friends speak out, revisiting this tragedy. This is 3 episodes. What happens often with me is I don't watch the news or hear current events. So when something like this comes out years later, I would prefer to watch this, because
they've had time to analyze it.
Yeah, you've had time. I can see start to finish in this. Whereas if I'm watching it while it's going on, I don't like that. I have to wait, and I don't like to wait. So this was, I didn't really know anything about it. I went into this not knowing the story at all, and it reminded me a lot. If you all know the story of Chris Watts, there's several really good documentaries that you can watch right on YouTube about Chris Watts. The interviews, and I mean, they're hours long, but once you start watching them, they're fascinating. But this reminds me a lot of the Chris Watts story. And I think he is just as guilty as sin. Now, he's saying he's still maintaining his innocence. It doesn't add up. It does not add up. There's the way when they caught him, the day that they caught him, he had changed his hair color. He had like $15,000 cash in his truck. He had his brother's driver's license with him. He had you could tell that he was gonna change his whole identity, that he was ready to hit the road. I mean, there's just so many things that just don't add up. I personally think he's guilty. You can think what you want. But after that one, I watched Face to Face with Scott Peterson. Now this one's on Peacock. It's 2024. A new look at the notorious case of Scott Peterson and the murders of his wife Lacy Peterson and unborn son Connor. Additionally, explores the latest developments after the Los Angeles Innocence Project announced they were taking the case. So what surprised me about this one is it uses a lot of the footage that you saw in the first one. That's why you need to watch the American Murder, Lacy Peterson first on Netflix before you watch the other one, I think. Because you're going to see some of that same footage on the second one. I like the American Murder better because that tells the initial story. But I still think he's guilty as he can be.
This didn't convince you?
Oh, heck no. The man is guilty. The man is as guilty as OJ. He needs to rot. And honestly, I don't think he needs to rot. I think they should just, yeah. Why should we pay for his food and education and all that when he's guilty? Okay, then this we watched together. So I'm going to let you do some talking now. We watched Hillbilly. It is on Prime Video. It's from 2018. Hillbilly is a documentary film that examines the iconic hillbilly image in media and culture. The film explores more than 100 years of media representation of mountain and rural people and offers an urgent exploration of how we see and think about rural America.
It actually takes place in Kentucky. All the filming does.
Yeah, it's all in Kentucky.
Yeah, because that's Appalachia is Kentucky. A lot of it is. I think some of it's in Virginia too, but a lot of it's in Kentucky. It was interesting. It definitely has. What's funny is, and I told Tammy this when we were watching it, it's like the people that probably need to see this will never see this.
No.
Like people that need to change their opinion of these very rural Kentucky or just country rural areas in general,
even like West Virginia and places like that.
The people that need to see that they're not all idiots trying to kill people and drinking and all that stuff. Then not everybody's like that. The people that need to see that image will never watch this. So it's they're kind of preaching to the choir. The people that would watch this are already probably think that. So it was interesting, though. It was very, very interesting.
So it shows, if you've ever seen the movie Coal Miner's Daughter, where Loretta Lynn grew up.
Yeah, very, very poverty and poor.
Yes, that's what I can honestly say that I've never seen this firsthand.
No, I have.
I have seen areas.
We've driven
through areas.
Yeah.
But I've never stopped in areas that are this poverty stricken. And, it's just, it's hard to think about people living in that poverty, living that way. But it was very interesting. And so if you get an opportunity to watch it, I would. My sister's the one that recommended it to me. And the reason she recommended it to me is because one of the women who made the film, the documentary, she grew up in Kentucky.
A very small community.
Very, very rural, small community. And she ends up, as soon as she could get away and go to college, she got away and she went to UK, the University of Kentucky. And once she got to the University of Kentucky, her vision, her views of everything changed. And my sister has always said, your feelings and your opinions and beliefs and all that really are affected by the people who you surround yourself with.
I think that's probably true.
And she said that she thought it was very interesting how her political beliefs completely changed.
Well, I don't know that they did change because they never really talked about her political beliefs before.
I agree.
So we don't know that they changed. She may have always felt that way. It just so happens that her whole family felt one way.
Yeah.
And she felt different.
But she could have felt that way
while she was
living there.
She never said she changed.
No, she didn't.
So
it was just that it came out
after she left.
Yes, and that's the thing is she left home when she was 18 years old. So when you're a kid, a lot of times you don't feel like you can express yourself. Yeah. You don't feel like that you're going to be taken seriously. You think if I say something, everybody around me, they're not going to listen to me because they disagree with you anyway, and they're going to think I'm not going to listen to her because she's a kid. Mm-hmm. So then once you go off to college, none of these other people have gone off to college, and then you feel like, okay, now I can say what I want to say. I can say how I truly feel and go against these people because now I'm a grown-up. Mm-hmm. So you're right.
And they gave her a hard time about it when she would come and talk to her. Like her grandmother, the whole family gave her a hard time.
They did, yeah. But you're right. We don't know that she didn't always feel that way.
But I wouldn't be surprised that, when you live with a family where everybody has one political view,
yes,
or religious view, or whatever view, you generally tend to go along with that because it's all you know.
That's all you know. And
unless you've really researched it other venues or avenues of thought, then you would think the same thing because you wouldn't know any different.
Yeah.
So your mind might get opened by going to a university or something. So.
I've said before in videos, you know, that Kevin and I are completely different people than we were.
When I was 18, I was
completely different. And it's just because you're raised, like Kevin said, you're raised under this belief system and you're taught this and you think that's all there is, and then you grow up and you're like, wait a minute, that's not the case at all. Yeah. That, you know, there's, you know, other thoughts and opinions and everything. So, okay.
It was very interesting.
We're doing good on time. Okay, so then we watched a movie called Twisters. It is on Prime Video, 2024. Kate Carter, a retired tornado chaser and meteorologist, is persuaded to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technologies. So, what would you say about that?
I liked it. It was kind of a one-time movie. I mean, I wouldn't want to watch it again and again. But I liked the story. The story was nice. It was kind of predictable, but it was still they did a good job of telling it.
It was very predictable.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, you knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yes. It's just like one of these rom-coms. You know exactly what's going to happen, but you watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they did a good job with the effects were good. The sound was good. They built some tension, and then, you know, I mean, I think they did a really good job. I liked the first one better, but I did like this one.
Honestly, the first one had Helen Hunt, right? I haven't seen the first one in so long.
Been a very long
and I only saw it one time.
Yeah.
Once. So I don't remember enough about it to tell you which one I like more.
I think I just like the story of the first one better.
See, I don't even remember.
And there was one nod that I know for sure from the old movie in the new movie, but that was it.
Oh, see, I don't remember enough of it to where I would have known anything.
Yeah.
So
it was worth watching once.
Okay, then we watched A Quiet Place Day 1, and that is on Prime Video as well. It's 2024. A young woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of an invasion by alien creatures with ultra-sensitive hearing. So, if they don't know anything about A Quiet Place.
Well, the first one came out a while back.
There's two.
There's 3 total.
3 total, yeah. This is the third one.
Yeah, this is the third one. So the first one took place on a farm, really. But the whole deal is you can't make any noise, or the aliens will kill you.
No,
that's the whole premise of it.
No talking at all.
So it's been a long time since the first one came out, but it was good. I really liked it. It had the guy that was in The Office. I can never remember his name, but he was one of the main guys in The Office. And then the second one was different because it took place.
Not Steve.
No. It was the other. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. The guy that plays Jim.
Yeah.
Pam and Jim.
Yeah, Jim. It was him. Okay. Yeah, I can never think of his name. But anyway, he was the main character. The second one kind of continues that a little bit, and then it continues on with that story. This one went back to when it all took off. Yeah, it kind of shows literally day one what happened, what kind of stuff went down when the aliens landed. You know, it was good. I enjoyed it.
So the first 2 are not popcorn safe movies. I don't think you cannot eat popcorn during those first 2 because it's too quiet.
Oh,
in the theater, you'd be like. Because there's no noise. There's no noise off.
You get the ambient noise of like trees and wind.
A Quiet Place Day 1.
It's loud.
It's safe. You can have popcorn. You can eat your popcorn.
There are moments
when it's loud. There are moments, but for the most part, this is a loud movie.
They definitely sound engineered this movie.
Yes, it is very, very loud. There's lots of sound, lots of stuff going on. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And what I didn't know, so I told my sister, I said, you need to watch this movie. And she said, oh, we've seen it. And she said, I think that guy's kind of cute. You know, the one that's in Stranger Things. And I was like, so there's a main guy in here, and I don't know his name, but he was in Stranger Things. And it's like, oh my gosh, we did not realize that was him at all. Like it never.
The characters are completely opposite of each other.
Yeah, it's like, well, it didn't even look.
No, that's what I'm saying. The dress.
I had no idea that it was the same person. And Stranger Things has been off for a little while too. But I would have never gotten that if she hadn't said that. And I didn't tell her that. I didn't tell her that. I was like totally floored when she said that. But she thought it was okay. I really liked it. I thought it was a great story.
Yeah, it had some emotion to it, and I mean, it was really good.
Yes, I enjoyed it a lot.
There was a few moments that, if you're watching it at the theaters, I could see it would be really, really, really loud in some of those parts.
Oh yeah.
Because it was really loud here.
Okay, so now the rest of these are just shows, just regular TV shows. I like to watch Contraband, Seized at the Border. That is a series that's on Max, and it's 2023. So the series follows the work of Customs and Border Protection officers on the border between the United States and Mexico in their ongoing battle against the smugglers of contraband across the border, including the Mexican drug cartels. Let me tell you, it never gets boring.
There's always new ways for them to try to sneak it in.
These people, yes. And what I have learned from this show is that this is a good way for them to make money. This is a good way for the United States to make money, and they do. Because somebody will try to smuggle drugs across the border, especially when it's like a bunch of pills. And because when it's a whole lot, like a truck full of stuff, they will put you in jail. You will go to jail for that, like, immediately. But if it's like, they call it like double stuffing. Like, apparently you can go to Mexico, and these pharmacies in Mexico think nothing of giving you this stuff to take back.
As long as you got the money.
As long as you've got the money, they're going to give you the drugs in Mexico. And so they double stuff. So instead of like in a package, instead of getting one
like pill thing.
Yeah, packet of pills, they'll put 2 packets of pills in there, and they double stuff them. So a lot of times when people get caught with double stuff medication, they just fine them. Okay, well, if you pay $5,000, you can go, and you have to throw the pills away. And it's like, oh my gosh. That's why people keep doing this stuff, is because the penalties are not very hefty.
Not compared to if it had gotten through, they probably would have made 10 times that.
It's just, to me, it's like the penalty it's not tough enough. Yeah. The penalty is not near tough enough, and that's why people keep doing it. That's why there is still an issue, is because the penalties are not strong enough. But it's a very fascinating show, and it's always interesting to see where these drug cartels try to hide things, and
it seems like. Now, I don't know anything about the Mexican border, so I just don't know. But it seemed like they could find some remote area and just like air cannon the drugs and packages just over the wall or whatever. It seemed like you could just and shoot them over, and somebody be on the other side.
Like the T-shirts at the football.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like somebody could literally be on one side just potato canning them over to the other side, and somebody else is just gathering them, and they go off, and they don't have to worry about going through trucks and carriers and
it's
condoms up butts and stuff like. I mean, it seems like there would be other ways of doing it. They check these
women, and I feel bad. I mean, can you imagine going in this is going to be your job. I'm going to work for the Border Patrol, and you never realize that you're going to be a gynecologist.
That's cavity surgery.
I just, and they find things.
I think that's all part of it, yeah.
They find things, and how horrible and disgusting is that? It's just terrible. But it's a very interesting show.
Well, the pills that they double stuff, you're allowed so many of them. Like, so let's say you're allowed 10 boxes. Well, if they double stuff, you really have 20 boxes now, and it's like, that's too many. So they just
But what I've
confiscate them all.
noticed is usually they don't let you keep any. They
Yeah,
don't
they
even
take
let
them
you.
all.
They don't even let you keep the amount that you could have had. They just say you're SOL and you don't
That's
get
because
any of
they
them.
know you're doing it on purpose.
Yes. Oh yeah. These people, they lie.
So
these,
effortlessly.
Yes, it's just like you're looking at me right in my eyes, and you're just lying because they have issues. Yeah, that's what the problem is. Okay, we are still watching Lost. We are on season 3 of Lost.
It's a long show.
It is. So in the very beginning of the show, a plane crashes, and this is about the survivors of that plane crash. They're on an island, and it was filmed on Oahu, wasn't it? But
a whole lot of it was.
Yeah, and it's absolutely beautiful. Every episode we watch, I think, I want to go back to Oahu. But we're working our way through it, so we're on season 3. Mm-hmm. We try to watch an episode just about every night, but there's a lot of episodes.
There's a lot, and they're an hour long, and they're back in the old school episodes when they were like 20 to 23 per season. So
yes.
it's a lot of hours.
But the reason why we're not further is because we're watching other shows too. Like we're watching all that other stuff that I named to you. Plus, we've started a new show. We have been watching Shameless.
The U.S. version.
The U.S. version. We're on season 2 of Shameless. I will probably, after we're finished with this, I'll probably go back and watch the U.K. version because I like it so much.
We saw the first episode of the U.K. version, and it was like almost word for word
the same as the
U.S. version.
Yes, the UK version.
So I wonder if we don't know, but and you don't have to say, but I'm just wondering out loud if they, like The Office UK and US, they diverged at some point.
Well, the UK version did not.
It
last
didn't even
long.
go that long, but they got different.
Right.
And I wonder if Shameless kind of did that after.
If it's gonna, and even like there's a UK version of House of Cards. We have our
version,
version.
which is a lot older.
Yeah. But yes, I wonder that too. If they stuck with the same story, or
the whole
if they
first season or whatever.
Yeah, we don't know. But it is a brilliant show.
They did a really good job. It's a little raunchy, but
this family lives in Chicago, and there's a house full of kids, and basically. The oldest sister, is raising all these kids because the dad is an alcoholic. Mom's out of the picture, and the dad is an alcoholic, and she's having to take care of everything.
it has for a long time.
Yes, and it's about them and their lives. And what's cool about it is we watched the show called The Bear. And the main guy I think his name's like Jeremy White, something like that. Anyway, the main guy that plays the bear plays one of the kids. I never realized that he was younger in this show. This is where he, I don't know if this is where he got his start or not.
I think this is the first big thing he was in.
But he's in this. And so it's really neat to see him when he was younger, before the bear. But it's a wonderful show. Kevin and I just love it. We absolutely love it. We eat it up, and it's just full of surprises every episode. And it's definitely not for everybody. It's not safe for kids at all.
Definitely not safe for kids.
No.
There's a lot of alcohol, drug use, sexual situations.
Yes,
pretty much in every episode.
We're on yes, every episode. We're on season 2, and Louise. If anybody knows who Louise Fletcher is, Louise Fletcher played in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. She also played the grandmother in Flowers in the Attic.
The old Flowers in the Attic.
The old school Flowers in the Attic. She was the grandmother, and she is in season 2 of the show, and she's just she's wonderful. She's a wonderful.
She did a good job.
Yeah,
with character.
But it's just hilarious. I can't tell you how hilarious it is.
And aggravating too. Some of the people you just want to kill.
Yes, absolutely. The Amazing Race Canada, you can watch it on Prime Video. This is season 10. They started out this season at Niagara Falls, but if you've ever watched The Amazing Race, the United States version, They go all over the world.
Yeah.
Canada stays in Canada, but Canada,
it's a world into itself.
Yeah, I mean it's so beautiful. I really do want to visit Canada.
Well, I think they can stay in Canada because there are multiple languages. I mean, there's some areas that speak French primarily and stuff like that, so they can go to different areas and still have challenges.
Yes,
that would be different if the American version just stayed in America, because I think it would be different. I mean, I just don't think it would be.
But it would be neat if they would do it just one time.
Just one time would be interesting.
To see how, if you stay in the United States.
Oh, and they need to make them go to these little country places that are out off the wall, like out in the boonies somewhere, and they have to do stuff. That's what they need to make them.
Yeah. Do. Oh, yeah. I totally agree. But I love The Amazing Race Canada. We are still working our way through Malcolm in the Middle. I think we're on season 4.
Yes, we just started it.
Yeah, season 4 of Malcolm in the Middle, and to me, it's gotten funnier as it's gone on. So it's still good. I mean, it's still the same premise, but it's gotten funnier. The situation with the older child has changed very, very much. I still don't think nothing against the actor or anything, but I still don't think he ever needed to be part of the show. I don't think they ever needed that kid. I mean,
they could have never had Francis in there at all.
Francis, yeah, they could have just had Malcolm and Reese and Dewey, and it would have been perfectly fine instead of creating Francis and this.
Yeah, I never understood why they've had this this extra stick-on kid that's out there doing something completely different. Not attached to the family at all.
It was completely unnecessary.
I mean, it could have been Uncle Francis. They could have been filming Uncle Francis in another state. I mean, it would have been the same thing.
Yeah, it's just totally unnecessary.
It's a little weird.
I do think there's just some really funny things, and there's funny side characters and that I love, and it's just a great show. And we're also watching MasterChef. So and it's the same show. I mean, every season it's the same exact format and everything. It's just different people.
It's kind of like Survivor or any of those.
Yes.
They get the same formula for every episode, and you still watch it though.
Yeah, and so we're watching that, and that's just kind of one of those light shows. But I think that's pretty much all we're watching. We still have a lot of shows that we have not started yet. Like Pachinko started again. We're going to watch that. We're going to watch House of the Dragon.
We'll catch up with that at some point.
Something you said was starting up in just a few.
Not Only Fools and Horses. Slow Horses.
Slow Horses. Slow Horses
starts in
is getting ready to start back up. And so we're going to be watching stuff like that. But that's why we haven't gotten further in Lost, because we're still trying to watch a Malcolm in the Middle every night, a Lost every night, and a Shameless every night. So then any of these other shows that start, we're having to try to fit them in somewhere.
Taskmaster, which is a UK show, starts in 14 days from when we're filming this. Sister Wives starts up in 17 days.
Listen, the Sister Wives.
I can't even imagine. I mean, I can't even imagine. It's like a train wreck. Survivor comes back on.
Sob and Robin.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Survivor starts up in less than a month.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I get excited about shows like that. Yeah. So there are a lot of shows that we plan on watching. But as always, if you've seen, and we've already got our tickets to see Beetlejuice.
Yeah. We're pre-ordered those.
Yeah, we pre-ordered.
That's one good thing about the theater, that some people don't like the assigned seating. If you're going to pre-order, you want the assigned seats so you can pick them out.
We've had our seats picked out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We picked out our seats 3 weeks ago to go see Beetlejuice.
And there was actually 3 seats already sold when I bought them.
Oh, really?
But that was it, just 3.
Right. So we plan on going with Ashley. It'll be me and Kevin and Ashley that'll go, because she's very excited to see it too. So next month we'll have to tell you what we thought about Beetlejuice.
And thank you, Techno Squid.
Yes, Techno Squid. Thank you. He paid for us.
Those 3 tickets.
Yes, he paid because he sent us way back at Christmas 2023. Yeah. He sent us gift cards to the theater, and so Techno Squid.
We're just now using them.
Yeah. So thank you.
And there's enough to pay for some popcorn. So.
Yeah. We have enough left over so that we can get something at the concessions, and we'll probably owe the concessions. concessions because it's expensive.
It's so expensive.
You're going to spend $100
Yeah, it's
on
ridiculous how
popcorn,
expensive stuff is.
but it's good stuff, so you have to do that.
Ashley likes it a little too buttery for me.
She likes it.
She says put
wet.
extra butter, and they like, yeah, it's like soaking. I mean, you touch it, and it's like, okay, it's just dripping butter on my fingers. But
Yeah,
it's a little too much for me.
She loves
She
it
likes
like
it that
that.
way, so whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, we will definitely be seeing that. But if you have any suggestions, recommendations for TV shows or movies, put them below because
You might fit them in.
I've said before too. Well, and you don't know, I might not get them next month, but I might get them after that.
Or if it's something she'll watch by herself, she'll watch them while she's
I'll
working.
watch it by myself,
Yeah.
and then Kevin might not watch it. But other people are also looking
Yeah.
at your recommendations, so it's not just me and Kevin.
There's so much on these streaming services, it's hard to know
Yeah.
what's on there. It's hard to find stuff.
Yeah, it is. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you for the same thing at the end of September.